Hi, Gail King from Looking to Make a Difference with Gail. I'm always excited to meet new people who are making a difference in the lives of others. Today is really special. I have with me Arthur Lih. His device saved not one, not two, but 10 lives. LifeVac. And today we're going to find out a lot more about this man and all that he's doing for you and for me. Before we meet Arthur, I'd like to give you some statistics. This is going to shake you up. I know it shook me up. There were over 4,500 deaths last year attributed to choking. Every 5 days, one of our children dies from choking. More people die from aspirating than from fires, accidental shootings, and drownings. This year, we can expect 100,000 people to be taken to emergency room. This has got to stop. And the man who's with me today has made this his mission. In fact, his mantra is save a life. Arthur, welcome to Looking to Make a Difference with Gail.
You're appreciate it. The title is what it's all about.
I appreciate you being here. I want to talk to you about your invention, but I also want to go into some of your background before we discuss what LifeVac actually does, how it works. I know that you're a graduate of Stony Brook University, and then you went into your own trucking and freight business, and from there, logistics. You were in a company. Now, you could have taken the easy road after that and retired. In fact, you were thinking of making toy boats, toys for children. But instead, something happened to you, something that we want to share with others that changed your life forever. You went to the hospital. Would you please share that?
Well, I'd sold my company, and I did want to retire. And I was visiting a friend in the hospital, a guy I worked with my whole life. He works for me now at LifeVac. And he pointed across the room, and he said, the last time I was here, and there was just a gurney. He said there was a 7-year-old on that gurney that had choked to death on a grate. Now, my daughter was 7. I've watched my best friend die in front of my eyes. The pain of what I've experienced when I saw my friend die, and when I saw my daughter on that gurney, I said, that can't happen. I said, how'd that happen? And he said, well, they Heimlich, they did everything, it didn't work. Child died. Because I didn't know. And the vision and the pain from my past, I said, that's not happening to my daughter. I didn't have any grandiose ideas. Quite frankly, I Googled it when I left, and I was hoping I could just buy something and be done with it and go about my life. But it didn't exist, so I had to make it.
Absolutely. I can't even imagine what that day was like for you. But look at the good that you are now doing.
6 years.
6 years in the process. And it's actually a device that helps clear the passageways and prevents choking. However, it does not take the place of CPR. It does not take the place of the Heimlich maneuver or the thrusts on the back. It is to be used if that doesn't work. But we're going to go into some of the ways that this is perhaps more helpful. I know it was in my own case when I almost choked to death. Let's take a look a little bit at what choking actually is. Yeah, it's a form of suffocation, and many causes can be attributed to it. And I know that we deal with so many different ages. But 41% is attributed to choking on food. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely.
And there are other reasons for it as well. I'm thinking primarily, I have grandchildren, and I remember when my granddaughter was very, very young, she would find things in the couch, on the floor. And what's the first thing they do, Arthur?
Well, they put it in their mouth. But the two ends of the spectrum where we see most of the choking is in the young and the elderly.
And the elderly.
And the young, they have small windpipe. Your windpipe doesn't fully develop till around 17 to 20. Okay. So you actually have a funnel. It's almost designed to be deadly. And why we see so many deaths in school is you got the funnel, they're not paying attention, they're laughing, they're playing, they're talking, and they get an obstruction.
Absolutely right.
But until that windpipe straightens out, it's a very dangerous situation. The elderly, our muscles get weaker. as far as they also neurologics, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's,
Yeah, we're going to go over
lupus.
all the
So
neurological
those
instances.
are the two ones that are
Right.
most at risk. and at danger.
Absolutely. It'd be blocking from the pharynx to the trachea. And in some cases, and I shared this with you before we actually started, sometimes coughing can bring up food. But if the food is totally lodged in the vocal cords, it can't be.
Well, a lot of times, majority of the time, it's an upper airway obstruction. It's just in the back of your throat. The problem with the body is an amazing thing that it passes food past this trillions of times, an infinite amount of times a day, and works. It's an amazing thing. So the odds are very dangerous in the sense that we have so many and we don't know about it. But the body usually works. The cough is your way to do it. LifeVac produces the same force as a very hard cough. The problem is, it's the odds. If indeed you're swallowing, you don't have enough air, and it stops.
Then that stops.
And it's just Russian roulette. It really is, and the body works amazingly well.
Extraordinary.
And the procedures, American Red Cross, American Heart, better known as the Heimlich,
Right.
wonderful, works about 60%, is somewhere around the number that we say. 2 out of 12 times, zero force, person dies. It's just not acceptable.
We were saying this before, that I was choking and my coloring had changed, and I was given the Heimlich maneuver. And I didn't realize this. You had shared this with me as something I had learned. It took 2 times for the piece of meat to actually come out of my mouth. I have to tell you, I thought my ribs were broken. I'm very tiny. It hurt. And you were saying a 3rd time I wouldn't have made it.
Well, the
odds
odds of it working
Right,
after the
right.
first one, where you have the best chance, right? The best chance is your first thrust done properly to expel the object. And obviously it drops off quickly after that. And, you know, people who are large, people who are very small, also the odds dramatically reduce
Right.
the ability for it to work.
Now, as far as children, we're looking at some of the items that they can choke on. I mentioned before, as my granddaughter, they put buttons in their mouth, they put coins, toy parts, even balloons, latex balloons. If a child bites a latex balloon and inhales it, that balloon can go and get caught in the throat. These are things that you don't even think of. Coming up upon the holidays, we're talking about food. People are having a great time, they're laughing. You may not see that a child is off on the side, and I know that you've heard stories about this.
Well, the saves kind of the 10 saves kind of document the expanse of what we're talking about, right? The mother in Idaho bought it for her children, wound up saving her mother-in-law.
Unbelievable.
The person with cerebral palsy couldn't be Heimlich.
Right.
So
right.
without
Like
it,
that.
they died. They went to get their arms around them. Thank God the facility was equipped with LifeVac. They could not Heimlich the person because of the size of the wheelchair and the complexity now of wheelchairs. So that was another instance of where it was. Mom with a child that had severe disabilities. Once again, very difficult to get her daughter to be Heimlich, you know?
Yeah, and we also want to point out that it's important that you act fast.
You got
4
4 minutes.
seconds can actually cause brain damage. Brain can die. Usually it's 6 to 10 seconds, maybe even a little bit more from the studies that I have seen. But how long would it take for somebody, if you were to call, to get help? It would take, on the average, 7 to 11 seconds.
Minutes.
So we're not, minutes, sorry. So we're not having that much time. You have to act on this immediately.
Well, you know, I'm a scuba diver, and one of the
Oh, I
slogans.
did not know that.
One of the
Okay.
slogans is "Die on the surface." It's all about
I know
air,
that.
right? You control your air, you watch your air. You have to be very conscious of your air. All else fails, swim up, right?
Absolutely.
Die on the surface. So when I heard of it, and I had to know it, I knew that you need air.
That's where this
You know,
comes from.
and we
Okay.
can't be distracted to the back end of protocol is chest compressions.
Right.
And a lot of people say CPR. Well, your heart's beating.
Right.
When your heart stops beating, it's because your brain's dead.
You'll have a heart attack, yeah.
Audi Anderson, they tried to use the defibrillator on. It wouldn't work because his heart's working. We need to get it out. That's it. It has to come out. So when we delay, we say, oh, do CPR and wait for help, then it's going to work.
It's not going
It's
to
got
work.
to get out. You need air.
You need to do
Die on
that.
the surface.
If you don't have the air getting to the lungs,
CPR is
that's
not gonna
what's
do
going to
anything.
cause brain damage, heart attack. We know, of course, we take in oxygen, carbon
Well,
dioxide,
it used to
nitrogen,
be called
gases.
the cafe coronary
Right.
because in the past they would say the person died of cardiac
Of
arrest.
cardiac arrest, but it really is.
But it was because the part tried to keep
Absolutely,
pumping.
absolutely. So you took $300,000, your own money,
More than that.
and more than that.
Yeah.
Do we want to go how much?
No, we don't need that pain.
We don't need to, but you know, look what you're doing.
I don't care.
Then you
10
went to a
people.
hardware store, right? And I think you were originally going to start maybe with a vacuum.
I did, yeah.
You did, and then you ended up with a plunger. Let's take a look at this, please.
Well, basically my scenario when I started was I had to make it easy to use. It had to be inexpensive, simple, panic-proof,
Right.
and it had to work. The first attempt became too complicated. It would have been too expensive, and it would have been too difficult to maintain, control, and use. The plunger, to me, was the ability, because everyone can plunge, right? Now, we come with very detailed instructions. Push it down, pull it up, you'll pop it out, you'll be alive.
Right.
But freak out, it doesn't matter.
All right.
Right? So the theory was, the other thing I wanted to do was the anti-business. I made it inexpensive and it lasts forever. See, by
The only
using
part you have to replace every 2 or 3 years is
the
this,
mask.
right?
Right?
Okay.
Now that's why, 2 reasons why it attaches, right? If I attach this permanently, I have to make you
You
buy a
have to
whole
make
new
the
unit.
whole clever.
So I'm not doing that because I
Right.
didn't do this. I did this to make people alive.
All right.
You hear that valve?
I hear that, yes.
Okay. What I used is a polypropylene bowl. If I
Okay.
used any kind of synthetic for the valve, it would deteriorate and you'd have to buy a new unit.
Unbelievable.
It's a great business idea. Horrible human being idea. I'm
Right.
not doing it.
You're not doing it for that
So
reason.
this will last forever.
Excellent.
So if you outfitted your school, yeah, you have to spend $5 every few years. That's it.
That's it.
For life. And we get the saving.
Now
So
tell us about the patent and the way that it actually works so that there's no air.
yeah.
Well, let's explain that.
One of the challenges was basically I had to re-engineer the plunger. The plunger pushes air in.
Right.
So I had to make it so that it vented quickly, right? Because if it was too small a valve, some air would
It
come
would
in.
come out and you can't have
And
the
two,
air escape.
I had to make it dummy proof in the sense people were panicking. If there was just a little valve, you could accidentally put your hand over it. So if you can see that, I vented the entire plate.
Right.
So under here is grooves that run through the whole thing. Actually got it from doing pottery. So
Well, it's physics and pottery. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
That's interesting.
well, the inspiration came from using a pin tool on a pottery where you make a line and you.
Right.
So this has tracks through the whole
Right,
thing.
I see that. Uh-huh.
So there's no way to accidentally block
Show
it.
that. Show that.
So-
That's interesting. Okay.
That way it lasts forever,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't panic and accidentally block that valve and push it in. So the independent test is 0 millimeters of mercury on the downward push. Hey, hello, Lance. Right? So that all that air vented out,
Right.
and 300 millimeters on the up push, which is the best the body can cough. Which, if
So
you
it's
could cough,
3
you would
times
never
the
need.
amount that if somebody were to do it on the chest,
Well,
about 3 times.
the Heimlich
this time?
generates 0 to max of 75.
Okay.
2 out of 12 times 0, which means you do it, they're dead. That's
Right.
why 5,000 people are dying. The cough that the human body can generate,
Okay.
the best cough, is what this does, 300 millimeters of mercury. And if we could cough that hard, everyone would be alive and I'd be building
So
a
the
boat.
item will be ejected. It will not go.
Each time we
It
pull
goes
it into
one
the
way.
mask.
It goes one way, and that's
Yes.
so significant and so
Well, that's
important.
one of those
to know.
number one questions we get. Won't it
Yes.
push it in?
Yes.
So,
Yeah, let's go over some of the questions that you
Oh.
do get.
yeah.
I know one of the questions that I had gotten was, can you use it on yourself? And the answer is yes.
Oh, yeah, this is the beauty of it.
Watch this. Look at that.
Did you see
Do it
how I pulled
again?
my face?
Yes, but do it slowly. Look at that.
So my dad's 83. When he
Mm-hmm.
eats, he keeps it on his tray, right? He's not going to go dive on the chair. He's beyond the capability to do some of the recommended protocol.
Right.
So he would just grab it and do what I did.
And do what you did. It's place, push, pull.
Yeah.
Now, what about turning the head sideways if you're doing this on another person?
The general situation, what we've seen now, on the saves, we've had people upright that are still conscious. What happens when you choke think about holding your breath. How long can you hold your breath? So you got about maybe a minute, you know,
maybe,
because you're not preparing to hold your breath. So by the time we do procedures, you know, 4 abdominal thrusts, 4 back slaps, panic, realizing the person's choking, they tend to be unconscious, which means you're just going to put it on, push it, and pull it. The save in Greece was an EMT. The first EMT on scene did not have it, so he did all the protocol. Didn't work. Person lost consciousness. The second EMT had a LifeVac. Popped it out. So that's generally what's going to happen. When you're alone, like you said, do it.
do it.
Come right up. Gone.
And I mentioned to you before that the idea of suctioning was not totally new.
No.
Because you can get blood and you can get other liquids, but this is the first time you could get an item out. That was the big news.
In protocol in the United States, every fire department has to have a portable suction device. It's
Right.
part of the regulations.
Right.
For decades, suction has been used in emergency personnel and in hospitals. And a lot of elder homes have suction units, right? The problem is it's not readily available to the public.
Right.
That EMT doesn't get there in time. Some elder care don't have it, right? And then you get into the whole people that have no option. A wheelchair with like cerebral palsy, say,
Correct.
I can't get my arms
You
around
can't get
them.
your arms around. Right.
They have 0.
Right.
That's an ADA violation. They deserve an opportunity to be saved.
Of course. Now let's talk about places where this definitely should be used, and then on what people. Any place in public. We're talking about from schools, the police department, airports, definitely restaurants, movies, malls.
Yeah.
What am I missing? Nursing homes,
Airplanes.
airplanes. This should be out there. You have
My
to.
passion, look, most of the people that get LifeVac are parents like me, right? I keep it in my kitchen, right? So I'm good to go. The passion I have is the schools, the elderly, and the special needs.
Specialty. Yeah.
The frustration and pain I have trying to make people understand that if your loved one, your child, is in a wheelchair, he cannot be Heimlich a majority of the
Right.
time. The technology has gained so big. Look at JJ on Speechless. He has a remote control, he has a screen.
Right.
The world is yet to catch up to the fact that those are wonderful and I'm all for them. The quality of life gives them a lot of freedom. I love it. But it has surreptitiously removed their rescue ability.
It's not going. Yeah, it's not. So I have mostly, I wouldn't say mostly, some neurological diseases. Parkinson, we're talking about Alzheimer's. These are the particular ALS, stroke victims.
The gentleman in Spain and Parkinson's.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
the
let's
number one.
Share that because that's extraordinary.
Well, he's such a beautiful man, and I get my heart from him because I see him,
See that.
and I know if he was gone, that the caregivers next to him would be heartbroken like I was, and he wouldn't have. They would have lost Grandpa, and that's what it's all about. But Parkinson's is neurologic,
Right.
which means the 22 muscles that you use to swallow will misfire,
In this fire.
just like every other, unfortunately, every other muscle that they deal with. And it makes it very dangerous for swallowing. It basically goes off the chart. Most neurologics, they pass from aspiration pneumonia. It means not swallowing properly, gets in their lungs.
Right.
The second cause is aspiration.
Aspiration.
Because once again, they're not swallowing function properly. So that we have to get them in these
You
places.
have to do it.
These kids with cerebral palsy, we can't just let them die.
No.
I can't just watch them.
No, absolutely not.
So it's frustrating, I guess you can tell. But I'll
Well, it's
keep going.
frustrating because you're trying so hard. You got to get out there. You're trying to reach as many people as you can.
Yeah.
And hopefully something like this
Well, plus,
will reach people.
Our world has become so fearful, right? 4 medical journals, the 10 saves, and we still get these situations where people are like, well, we're not sure if we're allowed to have it.
Right.
We'll get sued if we have it.
They're afraid of being sued. Absolutely.
Which is disgusting. But if you look at what's happening in Pensacola, they're getting sued for not having it.
For not having it, right.
That's what's going to happen. Doing the right thing will always be right. Just do the right thing.
Just do the right thing.
And the thing that's
Absolutely.
even worse, it's first aid.
Right.
It's covered on the Good Samaritan law.
Mm-hmm.
If you can Heimlich someone, you can use the LifeVac. You're not going to get in trouble for saving someone's
No,
life.
Of course not.
It's brutal.
I know. I feel your frustration because you're trying
because these people
so
are beautiful.
hard. And, right.
I don't want them to
Well,
have
that's
that.
why this is so important, to get this out there,
Yeah.
to share it, to discuss it. The work has been published in 4 different journals.
And
We're
2 more
talking
coming
about
out.
right. We're talking about physicians for emergency services, gastroenterology.
Protocol
your
change.
sister is a gastroenterologist.
We presented at ASAP, the American Journal of Emergency Medicine, ASAP presentation. We were a presentation board. We were designated for We presented on the study in front of emergency physicians.
Right.
We've had EMS protocol change, put LifeVac in. On top of the 50, there's about 23 states that already have suction in the protocol. 10 saves, 4 journals, 2 more coming out, one's peer reviewed. That we can't keep proving something.
No.
Especially think about the frustration. How simple is that? If you do that, it'll come out. What are we proving?
No.
300 millimeters of mercury, 220 milliliters of air. Can't hurt you. I just did it to myself.
Exactly.
What are we waiting on?
Well, we got to get this out there. You can be found on lifevac.net, and also I know that you're on Facebook. I know that, and I tried this because I always check it first.
I know you do.
I
It's
wrote you a
wonderful.
question, and I wrote a question, and he very quickly answered me within a short period of time. And I do that because I want to be able to say to other people, you can do it as well on Facebook with Arthur.
Just
Definitely,
get it.
so that we can get the information out there. What else would you like to share that you think hasn't been expressed to other people? I know the frustration, but I also know how hard you're trying, and I know that you're not going to give up. I know that you
I
are
can't.
relentless with this. It's personal, it's significant, and you've saved 10 lives. What else would you like to say to get this
Well,
out
here's
there?
my dream is I'd like to save
Tell
to
us
save
your
1 million
dreams.
lives before I leave this planet, right?
Wow.
Now to do that, first off, we need the world. We need the national media that seems to want to talk about very odd and insignificant things to realize that it's a national problem. Okay? It's 5,000 deaths a year. So it needs that attention, because when the child died in Pensacola, well, there had been a child that died in Dallas, and a child that died in D.C., and a child that died in Michigan. They don't know that 4 people died because it's local news.
Right.
So until someone with a brain and a heart says, hey, wait a second, that's a lot of deaths. We should do something about it. Well, I did. But until people realize how frequently it happens, it's a local tragedy. It doesn't even make the
Absolutely.
news.
It won't make the news, but this will.
Yes,
That-
that's what I like to hear.
That I can assure you.
Well, we'll do it. We'll do it. You'll help me. We'll do
You
it.
got it. And Arthur, we didn't talk about the charities. I mean, it's amazing what you are doing for everybody, but I think people should also know about the charities. I'm holding a teddy bear. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Jackie the LifeVac there came from my experience with MS, and we were just talking about the peace of mind that the caregiver, and with some of the work we've done with cerebral palsy, I said, how can I help them? Help raise awareness of that fact that the wheelchair has become so cumbersome, and give back. So Jackie the LifeVac there, currently if you buy them, all the proceeds go to cerebral palsy. And the hope is that we work with organizations, muscular dystrophy, cerebral palsy, spina bifida, to raise awareness and
Beautiful.
generate money to give back by including the Inspiration Bear.
Adorable. It is,
Yeah,
it
he's
is
cute,
absolutely
too.
adorable. And you were also Santa Claus.
Yes, well,
You've got to share that.
Well, I was blessed to help out a charity and be Santa Claus. I mean, I've done it many times. I highly recommend being Santa if you get the
Well, you love
opportunity.
children. It's obvious.
Yeah, it's pathetic.
Yeah.
You
Do
know,
you want to
because
mention
they
the
change your
charity?
life.
It was
They
the-
change your
yeah.
life.
Yeah, okay.
You understand what true love is when you have a child, and
True.
then you want to
That's for
why
sure.
this exists, because a parent can't lose it. We have to not do that best we can. And if
Absolutely.
it's the number one cause of their demise, then we certainly need to address
Got to
it.
do something about it.
But
You were with the Ashley Wade
I was.
Foundation. So that was exciting, right?
Well, you know, the instantaneous gratification to be able to look at a child and see the joy, you know?
Sure.
How could you not
That's one of the reasons I went into teaching and had, taught for so many years.
That's what I was on path to do. Prior to some of the challenges I faced, I wanted to be a social studies teacher.
Oh, loved it. But you were meant to do this.
I believe
that is
the challenges created this path to persevere in an avenue that no one's ever tried, because it's difficult, as we discussed, to take it from concept to life.
It is going to be frustrating at times, but the reward is knowing 10 lives.
I've gotten a text on my phone saying, "Hey, we saved a life." Quick story, you got to hear it.
Absolutely, tell the viewers.
The first save. It was I've been working hard, crazy for I think about 4 or 5 years. I get a text on my phone. Now Jackie, my daughter, was with me the first time I got it to work. It was glued together, goop. She said, "Dad, get a good seal," and it worked. She's in front of me, and I get a text. "We saved a life. Give me a call."
Oh.
I call the UK, and it's England, across the world, and he says, "Yeah, we saved a life. It was in an elder care facility. They did the Heimlich. It didn't work. The nurse ran and got it, and then Jackie, one push and pull." I said, "Wait a second. What did you say?" Jackie, my daughter, is standing in front of me. The nurse, Jackie. The first person to ever save a life with LifeVac, same name as my daughter, who is why I made it.
Unbelievable.
My hair stands up
just getting
every
the
time it
chills.
stands up, because it, to me, was the greatest clarification that I was on the right path.
You are on the right path.
You cannot write those odds. They don't come up.
No. And Jackie is now going to show us how this works.
Hi, my name is Jackie. I'm the daughter of Arthur Lih, the inventor of LifeVac. Today we received exciting news. We received a message from Spain saying that we have saved a life. The choking protocol did not succeed, and LifeVac was used to save her life. Just remember, it's as easy as, where to go? Jackson! Thank you. Just remember, it's as easy as place, push, pull.
I want to thank you so much for your heart, for your invention, for saving lives, and for making a difference in my life
Making a difference.
and in your life as well. Thank you.